Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. A very warm welcome to Meet Menaca, episode 74. Today, we are going to discuss nurturing your eyes with Dr. M.S. Ravindra, who's an ophthalmologist and a speaker. There's a long list of things to talk about him. I will come back to it. First of all, about the show, Meet Menaca features experts in their fields and real people share real stories. It is a vibrant 90-minute multicultural online talk show to celebrate each and every one of you. It's a free event, so please do register. Our links are shared on most social medias, or ask one of our team members or drop us an email and we will share. And on our posters, the Zoom ID and password is there for you to join as well. Please support our channel to add value, share inspirational messages, and create positive change by subscribing. And if you want to be notified and benefit from these videos, please do subscribe and hit the bell icon. Now, why do we have to speak about nurturing your eyes? And why did we choose this subject? Our eyes are one of the most sensitive and important organs in our body, and they require specific and careful care to prevent any problems. And according to statistics, approximately 12 million people over 40 years in the United States have vision impairment, including 1 million who are blind. And there's so much more statistics. To learn how to take care of your eyes and identify any issues early, let's listen and learn from the ophthalmologist, Dr. Ravindra. So let me tell you a little about the speaker today. Dr. M.S. Ravindra is a multi-award winning, internationally acclaimed expert ophthalmologist. He began his career in Bangalore, India. He is the medical director at Kartik Netralaya, was at All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIMS, as Cornea Fellow at the University of Rochester, New York, USA. Dr. M.S. Ravindra is a keen educator, the former director of Lions Eye Hospital, where he developed fellowship training, community daycare surgeries, along with eye screening for children and a unique eye banking project. So I'm really looking forward to listening to Dr. Ravindra. First of all, it's a great honor and privilege to have you as a speaker. A very warm welcome to you.
Thank you very much, Menaca, and thanks to all the friends who are around, new friends, new faces, and I'm equally excited to be a part of this program. Let us keep this program, though Menaca has sent a couple of questions. We had a couple of exchanges of how we should go ahead with the next 1 hour. Kindly do raise your finger, and anything about eye, do not hesitate to stop the talk and discuss on it. Let us keep it informal, not very formal.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ravindra. So as usual, we will be discussing about it. And after that, all the audience will be given a chance to ask questions a bit later. Firstly, you are a very experienced and accomplished ophthalmologist. What made you choose this field, Dr. Ravindra?
Yeah. I'm born with genes with physics. Physics was my favorite topic. Engineering was my favorite subject, but because I scored unfortunately very high marks in pre-university, my dad pushed me into medicine. So I did go through the medical course, and when I was looking at the different specialities in medical course, what fascinated me was the physics and ophthalmology. And that's the reason why I moved myself to ophthalmology at that point of time.
Sure. Thank you.
The second is the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, where I studied in New Delhi. Ophthalmology was one of the biggest subjects, specialty, and it's very difficult to get into that specialty. So I made myself, pushing in that direction to get into ophthalmology at that point of time.
I can see you like a good challenge. Thank you so much. And it's, your story is not very different from many Asian stories, I'm sure. At one point, parents had a lot of influence on what career path they chose. So yes, it's good to know that you were one of them as well. I know you have a special interest in the eyesight of children, Dr. Ravindra. So what concerns about your kids' eyes for you?
See, in practice, any ophthalmologist will tell you that a person who is 30 years, 40 years, and he comes to you for an eye checkup, and he thinks his both eyes are very good. And when we examine, one of the eye is really blind. You know, everybody sees the world with both eyes put together, and we presume that both eyes are working. But if you close one eye and see, one of the eyes subnormally functioning. So it's very, very common. At that point of time, when an adult comes in, we can't do anything because there is no treatment for amblyopia once a child crosses the age of 9 years. There comes, so today especially is the day when you need both the eyes. We need VRs, we need virtual imaging, so we need stereopsis, we drive, we enjoy 3D movies. So we need to have a good right eye and a good left eye. So that's possible to pick up these diseases only when you examine them as when they are still children. So the ideal age to examine, see, for example, what I say is if you want only just 2 examinations of the eyes and you never want to meet an eye specialist, one should be at the age of 3 years. Every child should undergo an eye checkup because 10% of children will have some kind of eye problems. It's a huge number. We used to do school eye screening programs as a project, and I would recall one Dr. Malati Sidanur, so who just visited my clinic when I was a beginner, ophthalmic practice way back, and she was very fond of doing health checkups in schools. So she just walks into a school and examines all the children, dental problem, eye problems, physical problem, growth, milestones, everything. It's her hobby, passionate. It's done free. So she asked me to cover the ophthalmic portion of it. And I agreed because I had a lot of free time. And when I went to the school, it was pathetic to see that 10 to 20% of children, whether they are urban children or whether they are rich children or a poor children or a slum children or a rural children, 10 to 20% have some kind of eye problem, which can be treated with few rupees. You don't have to operate on them. You just treat vitamin A deficiency, treat infections, treat squint or give exercises for squint. And very few of them did need surgery. But then, so that's the time I thought that children had to be prescribed. Next step is we did refraction and prescribed glasses. A lot of children have short sight, long sight. How do we know what happens to them? Child thinks that everybody is seeing only subnormal. There's nothing to compare what is good and what is bad. And the child cannot see the board, child cannot interact with the friends, with the society, they become introverts, and it reflects in the performance in the examination. So we prescribed glasses. We went nicely prescribed glasses by 3, -3, -4. And the child goes back home with that slip, and the slip is thrown out by the parents. They won't go and buy a pair of glasses because they think child will overgrow it. So that's the time when we had a sponsor who made glasses for these children and gave it free of cost. Once they've tasted good vision, there's no way you can snatch the vision away from children. So that's the way we developed a lot of interest in children and their eye care.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vinay. I think it's a very, very important point for many reasons. I think you also brought up the economical difficulties and reasons, but I think beyond it, there's a lot of, for example, I know girls who don't want to wear glasses when they're young. And they want to wear glasses. So there are many reasons why children don't wear glasses, or parents don't encourage the children to wear glasses. So it's really a good point you raised, and I think it's really important for everyone to know that it's better to do it when they're young than later. Going from there, I remember you mentioned that people don't realize that they are actually having visual impairment to some extent. So can someone be losing eyesight gradually and still feel that he or she has good eyes or eyesight?
Yeah. Yes, Dr. Menaca, it's very common, very common. If we see about 150 pages in a day, so about 20 to 30 people of them, they have wonderful vision. They see everything, distance and near. But when we go to the next step and examine them, ask whether they are diabetic. Diabetic diabetes is one of the commonest causes where the retina is getting damaged in the eye without the patient being known about it. Diabetics take care of blood sugar. They think their wounds are healing very well. They are very proud that the sugars are in a good control. They look at the kidney values, creatinine levels, but the thing commonly mistaken, commonly forgotten is the eye testing. So they don't come for an eye testing, and the diabetologists normally don't look at the retina in great detail like the way we look at it. So there are specialists who specialize in medical retina and surgical retina, and diabetes is the big problem now. It's a social problem. It's not only that. So these people, they classically, there are two kinds of diabetic retinopathy. One is maculopathy, other is bleeding, vitreous hemorrhage. So many people who have diabetes, if they are more than 5 years of diabetes. So what do you mean by more than 5 years? By the time the person realizes he's diabetic, it may be already 5 6 years old. He may not be knowing. He may not be having thirst. He may not be having the classical symptoms of diabetes, but he could be diabetes because he wasn't examined for it. So the other checkup that one has to undergo, the eye checkup and the body checkup, is at the age of 40 years. When you turn into the middle age, then a lot of illnesses come up: cardiac, diabetes, renal, eye problems, glasses, everything coming. So diabetes is one reason why we insist internationally. We accept that any diabetes should get his eyes tested whenever he's diagnosed to have a diabetes by a good, not only an eye specialist, but a specialist who is specializing in retina, number one. Number two, he must come back for an eye checkup every 1 year, even if his vision is very good, because vision can be good and he may be losing vision. At 4 o'clock in the morning, I know any number of people who come with sudden loss of vision because the vessels have broken open and bled inside the eye. So all diabetics should get their eyes tested every 1 year. And the other major disease which people usually are not aware is glaucoma. Glaucoma is a thief. Both are called thieves of eyesight. And you may lose vision as much as there are ganglion cells in the eye. There are 10 million ganglion cells in each eye. That's the number of cables that are there from the eye to the brain. 10 million. It's a huge number. So there can be a continuous loss of ganglion cells because of glaucoma, and that's a progressive disease until about 60 to 70% of these ganglion cells are dead. A glaucoma person will not feel that he has a deficit. So these are thieves of eyesight. One is glaucoma, other is diabetes, and one should be aware of it.
Thank you so much. And it's really, really interesting to hear that, because we have a family friend who one day, he doesn't have immediate family here. So he called my brother and I out of the blue to say that he lost his eyesight that morning. And we were all shocked, and we didn't know much at the time. And that's the first time I realized it can happen overnight for someone really that young. So I think it's so important for to raise awareness about these things, isn't it, Dr. Ravindra?
Sure. Yeah, it is. It is. And a periodic checkup, and the other thing is, today everybody is busy, and diabetes starts at the age of 30, 40, 50, and they are professionally very active. So whenever a diabetic patient comes to the clinic, we need to dilate the pupil. We need to dilate the pupil, make the pupil big so that we can see the entire retina. So I'll just have a model here I can show you.
Sure, of course.
So that's the model of the eye, and eye looks like that from front. Eye looks like that from front. We have removed eyelids and all those things. So removed, it's a ball-like structure, and there are a lot of optical elements inside that, if I can quickly tell you. So that's a cross-section of the eye. That's the front of the eye. This is the optic nerve which goes to the brain. And that's a cornea. That's a lens. In a cataract, this becomes whitish. So we'll remove it and replace it with a synthetic lens. And that's a retina. Okay. There is a pupil in the front. Pupil is tiny, 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter, 5 millimeter. Through a tiny pupil, I'll not be able to see the entire retina. Okay. We need to dilate the pupil. Most of the difficulties we have is whenever we say we need to dilate the pupil, oh, I'm very busy, I got a meeting here, and I've come driving, so I can't go back with the dilated pupil. They take an excuse and go back, and they come back 3 years later with serious problem in the eye. So whenever a doctor suggests you to get a dilatation done for a retinal checkup, kindly do oblige and let him see the eye retina in a great detail.
Thank you so much. I mean, I think it was really good for people to have a look at it. It's nothing like the visual demonstration of something. So it is good to see what happens. And it's really interesting to see what happens in cataracts as well. Which brings nicely for me to ask the next question, really. Cataract surgery has become a commonplace these days. We are, getting to know at least, one or two people every few months that somebody's having a cataract surgery. So when to go for a cataract surgery and what is really involved in it, Dr. Ravindra?
Yes, cataract, many people think that the cataract is a layer that grows on the eye and doctor is going to hold with the forceps and pull it out and then you start seeing. So it's never true, not even in the old generation where we used to remove the cataract. Years ago, decades ago, we used to remove, as I said, that's an eye and that's a lens there. We used to just pluck it off and let the person see, and then because there is no lens inside the eye, he has to wear very thick glasses. Grandparents, you might have seen people wearing very thick glasses which are like soda bottle bottoms, and that's gone now. Now we don't pluck it out, we evacuate the contents, we remove the contents of the natural lens, we remove the bad portion of it and clean it up and put a new lens inside the eye. This is more of a lens replacement than extraction right now. We replace the spoiled lens with a new lens, so which works well forever. So when to go for it? Certainly not when it's mature. Early days when you used to pluck the lens out, and we used to wait till all the zonules are free so they can pluck it out easily, like plucking a fruit from a tree is very easy when it's overripe. So just touch it, it'll fall off. That's the philosophy. Today we want to retain the capsular bag, the bag in which the lens material is there, remove the contents, put a lens. So certainly when the cataract is mature, it's a bad time to do surgery. We need a lot more skills. Like in India, we have 30% of the population are mature cataracts. So we need a lot more skills in India to operate on these patients, and we have methods to do that, but the best is to do it when the sight starts bothering you. Okay, so now cataract doesn't come in both the eyes equally. One eye is worse, the other eye is better. So when gradually you see that you start hitting the curbs, or you start moving erratically, you start hitting furniture on the side, or a person who is driving at night time, he has a lot more glare, when you're difficult to drive. So you need to have qualify with some symptoms, some inability to see. Like for example, if you're a surgeon, you need very good eyesight to operate. If you're a dentist, you need perfect eyesight to operate. So you tend to get the cataract surgery done much earlier than others. Whenever both eyes, we need both the eyes. When we walk around, we walk with both the legs. Imagine there is a small cut on your finger. Your walking is not very convenient, very comfortable. Same way, when one eye is not functioning as well, your walking depth perception becomes difficult. So we see with both the eyes, not that one eye is a spare, other eye is working well. Okay, so you need both the eyes to enjoy the vision, to enjoy the 3D vision, to enjoy the stereopsis, to navigate, to drive, to climb up the stairs, to especially getting down the stairs. You may feel that little uncomfortability is there. And that's a time to plan for a surgery if your doctor is diagnosed to have a cataract in your eyes.
It's really fascinating to see, what we think and what really actually happens are two different things. So it's really, I think, thank you so much for explaining it so well, Dr. Ravindra. I'm sure,
about the cataract, how to choose the type of cataract, how to choose the technique. So we specialize in different techniques of cataract surgery. Some people come and say, do a laser cataract surgery. So laser cannot be used for completing the cataract surgery at all. Cataract surgery, imagine it has got about 10 steps. Only 1 or 2 steps can be performed with the laser. Laser is used only to cut, make an incision there, but cataract has to be taken out from the eye, and after laser we'll have to take it back and do a surgery. So surgery you cannot avoid. So laser cataract surgery, So surgery has to be avoided, and then you'll have to open up the eye to put the lens inside the eye. So laser and surgery have to work together. So don't think that laser alone can clear your cataract and remove it. And to put the lens inside the eye, we put a lens inside the eye. There are many, many kinds of lenses available today. And the most expensive are trifocal or EDOF lenses. Everybody need not go for the most expensive lenses. So the entire cataract surgery is based upon your visual needs. You may be an artist, you may be a ballet dancer, or you may be somebody who is working on system all the time and your system is 30 inches away from you. It's not very close to you. Or somebody who is a writer who keeps writing on a book. Everybody has visual challenges, visual needs. So a doctor will look at the visual needs of a particular person, analyze what is best for him, and imagine it's a very hard cataract. So the techniques are different. So let the doctor decide, and you give the inputs as to why, what way you're going to use your eyes in the future, so it can be customized, it can be adjusted in such a way that you get the best benefit. And the third is economics. So there is nothing called a bad lens available today. You don't have to go for a very premium lens. Economics is very important in a country like India. They don't have money. So you cannot push expensive things on them. There are equally good lenses which are, now today India makes one of the best lenses in the world. There's nothing, now like earlier days, we used to say go for an imported lens from UK, Europe, or United States. Today, India manufactures exceptionally excellent quality lenses. So they are very, very affordable. The whole world is using Indian lenses today. They are exported in a very large quantity. So if why you pick up an Indian lens for a particular eye, I'm not doing injustice to the patient.
Thank you so much. And I think it's really important to know this because economical reason is a huge thing, particularly in South Asia, India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan. So I think it's really important to, let people know that there are other options and they shouldn't, make that a thing to stop them from going and seeing a doctor or ophthalmologist to have a look. Thank you so much, Dr. Ravindra. I just wanted to know, we all grew up listening, or at least most of us grew up listening, say our parents saying, eat this food, eat carrots, eat greens, and you will have great eyes. So can having a good and balanced food, for example, lots of carrots or fish, can cure or prevent eye disease, Dr. Ravindra?
Yeah, I think we are realizing more and more often these days that there is a total balance between the food that we eat, the exercise that we do, and the workload that we have should be balanced. The mental, like what is the approach towards life. The three has to be balanced very well. Food forms a very, very good, very important tool to maintain the health. Eye is, after all, a part of the body. If the body is not working, eye will not work as efficiently. Carrots are usually related to the ophthalmology. You eat a lot of carrots and your eyes will be brighter. I think it's a myth. It's not true. Carrots do not have vitamin A at all. It has got a carotenoid, which is the precursor of vitamin A, and your body health should be very good to digest and convert that into vitamin A. And vitamin A is not everything in eye. Vitamin A forms a small element of eye functioning. It's certainly important, but it is not everything in eye. You need to have a balanced food, which includes your fats, your proteins, your carbohydrates, and trace elements and vitamins. All are important. Today, we give more importance to vitamin B12 and vitamin D, which are as good as vitamin A. Vitamin A is easy to get it. So vitamin D is very deficient in us. B12 is also deficient in us. So we are aware of the multiplicity of vitamins that need to go. And now we are aware of the toxicity or the bad things about carbohydrates. So we all thought that oils are bad, fats are bad, but bad fats are really bad, like cheese and whatever you eat very tastily, especially we feed children on sweets and cheese. So that's certainly bad for the whole body. If it's bad for the whole body, it's bad for the eyes. There are a lot of diseases which come up just like heart attack, where one of the vessels are blocked. Heart has got 3 major vessels. Eye has got 4 major vessels. It's very common to see one of the vessels getting blocked, just like the heart vessel got blocked, and that's because of the food we're going to eat and lack of exercises. Today we are aware of the fasting, which our Indian ancient people recommended. The ideal way is you'll have to keep the whole system off food, off any kind of food, milks, toffees, sweets, chocolates. The ideal duration is 16 hours. So that we have been recommending, and we'll see that positive effect on the weight, positive effect on the health, positive effect on the eyes is very good. So you fast continuously for 14 to 16 hours every day, and that'll take you, that'll bring miracles in your health. And avoid anything that's fatty, thick fat, like cheese and burgers and all that, layers of fat. You can avoid that. It's very good for eyes, very good for general health, very good for your blood pressure. I've seen diabetes getting totally cured by just controlling your sugar, your diet. The second thing is carbohydrates. Excess carbohydrates is bad. Maintain your BMR, which is very good for keeping good health.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Ravindra. So no more gulab jamuns and jalebis, right? For everyone to enjoy. It's all in the balance. I was just kidding, of course. I think it is really important because there's a huge myth. And I think as parents, with all the good, right intentions, we have heard it over and over again, have carrot and your eyesight will be okay. So I think it was really good to listen to you to say as an expert that vitamin D, vitamin B12, and so many other things are important to maintain good eyesight. So thank you so much. I know you have been a pioneer, or you have been really actively involved in eye donation. And so what is eye donation and grafting? And if someone is blind, can they get a graft?
This all started when a child came to me with an injury to the eye, and the child lost the vision, and the father and mother both were standing next in weeping, and he said nothing can be done, and father was all right, but mother came and said, take out my eye and give to my child. So I wish it was possible, but from a live person will never collect eyes. Eye donation is always after death. Unlike kidney and heart and other organs, it's always after demise. And once somebody dies, he's no more the owner of the body. His family can take a decision to donate. And there are eye banks all over. In India, there were not many eye banks. I'm proud to say that Sri Lanka had that eye donation movement. Hudson de Silva, have you heard of him?
Yes.
Hudson de Silva was a pioneer in Sri Lanka who understood this decades ago, almost half a century ago, and he started that movement in Sri Lanka, eye donation program, and he used to supply eyes. There were excess collected than what were needed in Sri Lanka. He used to ship them up all over the world. So I used to go early in the morning to airport. There was a Sri Lanka Bangalore flight there. So we used to wait for that box of donation eyes from Hudson de Silva and bring it and use it. So that's the turning point where we thought our hospital at Lions Eye Hospital in Bangalore, we thought, why not, if Sri Lanka can donate eyes, people there can donate eyes, why not Indians? So that's the time we started the eye donation movement. What happens is after death, within 6 hours, we have to collect the eyes. A surgeon himself goes and collects the eyes, puts it in a moist chamber, in a cool box, brings it to the hospital, looks at the quality of the eye, whether it is good. Then we cannot transplant the entire eye. Entire eye cannot be transplanted. Only the cornea can be picked up, and that can be given to a person who is sick with a corneal disease. Cornea is the frontmost part of the eye. That's a cornea. So what you see, the colored portion is not cornea. Colored portion is 2.5 millimeter behind the cornea. That's called iris. In our case, it's black or brown. In Western, it's greenish, bluish, whatever it is. That's not cornea. Cornea is in front of it. Just like in a wristwatch, you touch it, you touch the glass. But what you see is the dial of the wristwatch. What you touch is the cornea, but what you see is the iris. So cornea grafting is a condition, is a very evolved surgery right now. There are so many kinds of grafting that's possible. We remove the cornea and transplant it to a patient's eye. Most of the patients who need cornea grafting are children because of injury or a vitamin A deficiency or an infection on the eye. They would have become blind. And why not we manufacture a synthetic cornea? It's impossible. Even today, in spite of research for decades, It's impossible to mimic what God has done to us. God has created a wonderful being which cannot be easily repaired. See, imagine a car which can repair itself. It gets a bump and hit, it's got a hit on it, it's got a scratch on it. It can't repair it. Somebody else has to repair it. Body can repair it itself. So it's a wonderful machine. So cornea cannot be manufactured in a factory, synthetically. So we'll have to depend even today to donor cornea. If you donate the eyes, the true people will get the eyesight back, and it's a big movement all over the world. And in India also, it's it's caught up very well, and there are a lot of people who donate the eyes. Many people come and ask, my eye is blind, and why don't you do a grafting? So we can't graft the entire eye. Eye has got hundreds of structures, vessels, nerves, optic nerve, tissues. So only the cornea can be transplanted, not the rest of the eye. So that means every blind cannot be helped by a cornea grafting. It has to be a corneal blind to help a corneal transplant.
Thank you so much for that. And I think I will take this moment to say, according to statistics, organ donations amongst South Asians is generally quite poor for certain cultural, religious beliefs. Sometimes, I guess people are not aware of what happens for whatever reason. But I think personally, I would definitely request everybody to, put the signature down and make sure that your organs are donated, including, of course, like Dr. Ravindra said, the eyes, because I think you can benefit somebody else even if you're not in this earth. And I think it's a greater satisfaction than anything else. So thank you so much, Dr. Ravindra, for pushing that point and telling people why it is important and how it can actually benefit someone else. Particularly in the last 2 years after COVID, but even before that, gradually, we are all spending much more time in the digital world. The gadgets like mobile phones and laptops and iPads and MacBooks and whatnot have become really almost indispensable in our lifestyle. Can you tell me, as an expert, do you think they can make someone blind?
The short answer is no. Very short answer.
Because you can hear this in so many family get-togethers, and parents and older people, elderly people telling the children, and including myself. I never told you my daughter's going to go blind, but I would say, oh, it's going to spoil your eyes. This you hear time and time again everywhere. And so I thought it's a good place to ask you the question.
The long answer is the eyes themselves don't get spoiled by a thing, but it's a good diagnostic tool. A lot of patients come back saying that my eyes are hurting, my eyes are doing that, I have a headache, I have double vision, I have intermittent blurring, I have watering, redness, dry eyes. So all that is because they have an intrinsic problem in the eye, which has got exaggerated by working on the system. So I said about using both the eyes. We call it as a binocular vision. Binocular vision, by only just do the small exercises. You keep your fingers away about as long as go away they go, and try to meet them. So look at, you can easily see that you can the tips meet, but then close one eye and try to do the same thing. They go away. You can never meet them. So we need, for the depth perception, both the eyes. And when both the eyes are not synchronizing properly, it's very, very common. A lot of people in public have got it. They don't synchronize. And when you're doing a lot of work on the system, and then it brings about asthenia, asthenopia, the tiredness. Like for example, you are going up the hill all the time, you get tired in your legs. So similarly, when the eyes are not synchronized well and you put them into task, you will have asthenopia or tiredness in the eye, intermittent blurring and all those things. And that can be, how do we solve it? If there is a problem, kindly do visit and get a complete eye checkup done. That's number one I'm going to tell you. And whenever you work on system, you'll have to, you see, you watch a person, I'm blinking continuously. We all blink about 20 times in a minute. What happens when we blink? The upper lid comes down on the cornea, cleans it up, wets it up, and goes up. So this is the continuous process God has given us. Just like whenever it's misting or raining, your car wipers start functioning. So this is wiping the corneal surface and redistributing the tear film. There is, say, when you're emotionally upset, the tears roll out. But that's not the only time you're producing tears. Tears, like saliva, it's continuously being produced in the eye. It is produced by glands there, and they wet the surface and they get drained into the nose through the nasolacrimal duct, if you're aware of that, those anatomy there. And when you blink it, it's a continuous process of that fluid being recirculated. So it's very important. A person sitting on the system, for example, you watch him, he doesn't blink at all. For a minute's time, he's not blinking. He's staring at the monitor without blinking for continuously. So this is the commonest cause for dry eyes. They get dry eyes without they realizing it's happening. So what we recommend is blink at least 15 to 20 times in a minute consciously whenever you're working on the system. And after working for about 20 to 30 minutes, stop it there and go for a walk, go for a stroll, and come back. 2 minutes is enough. Just go up, drink a cup of water, and come back and sit there. So this is what we recommend to all the people who are working continuously in the system. The next thing is, by default, the monitors and your screens come very bright. You know, when you put it on, they're bright white. That's not good. A lot of contrast is there. So there is a mode in today's all systems called a night mode. Go to the settings. There's something called night mode, which removes the blue. The spectrum has got 7 colors, or so, you know, like from Vibgya or violet to red. So it cuts off the blue light portion of it, which is supposed to be harmful to our eyes. It just trims that. So just go to the system and go to the night mode and keep it on night mode all the time. So, and reduce the brightness of your monitor. It should not be very bright, the default. So on the phone also you can reduce the monitor. So it is only about 50, 60, just about readable levels. So by doing this, by blinking more often, and the other thing is, whenever you work on the mobile, you know, you bend your head down. That's not the right way to do it. I have a monitor in front of it, and the monitor should be at the eye level or few inches below that, not too low or too high. You should not be looking at the monitor like that or bring it down. Your neck should be straight all the time. When you're seated on the thing, the ergonomics is very important. How you are seated on the chair, your neck has to be straight up the vertebral column. Do not see that. Ask somebody to take a photograph of the profiles from side view when you're working on it. So you should be straight neck or slightly bent down by about 10 degrees, and your monitor should be little low, and that will go a long way in visual hygiene when you're working on the system.
Thank you so much. It's so important.
Dr. Menaca, the contents of what children see is much more harmful than the seeing process itself.
I'm not going to say anything more about that one. Yes, thank you so much. But it's really important, isn't it? These days, even forget about children, even we adults spend a lot of time outside work. You know, be it social media or be it something else, you know, we are almost glued to our digital gadgets these days. And I think in Apple, because my phone and everything is in Apple, so that's called the dark mode, I think. One of my friends recommended it. So all my gadgets have been set to dark mode, but I have, you know, like they say, sometimes you have to hear it from the horse's mouth, and I'm glad I heard it. So I'll make sure now I tell more people about it and recommend that mode for everyone as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, what you said is dark mode is where you have a background dark and letters white.
Yeah.
That's a very good mode. You'll have to just swap the background and letters. That's excellent. Even my monitor is black right now. So I don't have the white background. That's much soothing to the eye. That's one. Apart from that, there's night mode, which trims off the blue portion of the spectrum.
So there are 2 things to do now for everyone. So set the dark mode so that, you know, normally when you see a document in Word, you would see white background and the writing. But in this, it will be the white background will become dark. That's what I was talking about. What Dr. Ravindra is saying is to reduce the brightness of the screen.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yes, correct.
The thing is black there, letters are white.
Yes, correct.
This is opposite of what most of the phones have.
Sure. Thank you so much. I'm glad to know at least I'm doing one thing right. Thank you. Okay, so as an expert, Dr. Ravindra, what is the ideal diet to save eyes? I know you mentioned already about vitamin D and vitamin B12. Is there anything else people should be aware of?
Ideal diet comes from the sun. Spend at least minimum 1 to 1.5 hours in sunlight. Do not cover yourself completely and go to the sun. It's of no use. Keep your arms, feet, face exposed to it. And in India, it's fashionable to convert ourselves into white skin. We put tanners and anti-tanners or whatever thing and cover it up so that we are protected well against UV light. UV light is essential for us. Of course, our skin will tan, but then that's the one which manufactures vitamin D. Vitamin D is very, very useful. Natural vitamin D that comes from sun is the best source of vitamin D. Vitamin D is essential for the health of eyes, bones, skin, and spend at least 1.5 hours in outdoors. That's the best food. The second thing that I will tell, especially we have a lot of vegetarians, we don't eat meat, so we need to eat the sprouts. Next best. The third best is the vegetables that come after the sprouts. Sprouts are very important because it's got vitamins as well as the, of course, calorie portion is there, but proteins. Proteins is very important for a child and for an adult. We are supposed to eat about 100 grams of protein every day. Nuts are very important. Sprouts are very important. And vegetables come a little later, though carrots are given the maximum importance. And omega-3 fatty acids important, which is there in fish liver oil, but we don't eat fish liver or fish as much. So we'll have to eat flax seeds and certain seeds which are very important, which are rich source of omega-3 fatty acids, which are very good for brain, very good for nerves of the eye. And the poison is, what is the poison? Today's poison? Carbohydrates. The amount of rice we eat, the amount of rotis we eat, and the amount of millets we eat, it's huge. Now, you can only lose weight. People try to lose weight by doing exercise. It's impossible, just impossible. And you will have to have a right balance of your age, your height, and weight. All of us are abnormal. We are abnormal creatures. So you go to the Google and put it on the BMR or height weight ratio of a person. Put your height there, put your age there. It'll show that you're easily 1.5 to 2 times what you are supposed to be. We are carrying around unnecessary fat on our body. Fat is a reserve. In emergencies, we are going to go and take that fat. It's like a storeroom of a house. In Corona time, we all stored so many things at home thinking that, we are not going to go outside. So like that, we are storing fat inside the body and carrying it around as though we are not going to get the next meal. So fat is something which is in the body, and then it is taking your blood circulation. Heart is a small organ. It has to pump food, and most of the food goes to the fat, which is not necessary. You need to nourish your brain, you need to nourish your kidneys, you need to nourish your eyes, and shed off the fat, and you will be a much better human being.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ravindra. I cannot preach, as many people know. On the forum, I'm called the chocoholic dentist. So I'm in no position to preach. But yes, I will definitely take this on board. And it's so important. I think not many people make the correlation between carbohydrates and eyesight for whatever reason. So I think it's really good that you reiterated that point, that it can also affect your eyes. So thank you so much for that. I heard you mention about macular degeneration, and I'm sure not many people are aware of the terminology. So what is it?
So macular degeneration is a disease which syncs with the aging. So the macula is this part of the eye. I'll take the model back here. So that's the front of the eye. This is the back of the eye. And whenever the eye sees an object, the cornea and the lens inside will focus that object on a point here in the retina called macula. Macula is the most sensitive part of the retina where image is falling. Like you are seeing a monitor or a laptop or a mobile, and that image of the mobile, the image of me talking, is falling on your macula upside down And that's a portion which is in the back of the eye. Then only you'll see the macula is healthy. You will see colors and you will see the objects in the proper shape. A lot of people come with progressive loss of vision which is worsening over a period of time, and they attribute it to the aging because of cataract. Okay, they just keep quiet because I'm getting cataract, or my power is changing, my glasses are changing, and I can't see it well. But they may be suffering from a disease called maculopathy. Maculopathy is a disease of the macula. Age-related means a disease of the macula that comes because of aging is called ARMD or AMD. It's very common. Everybody knows about AMD or ARMD, aging macular disease. That's one of the things which most of the people of elderly age group are suffering. The commonest surgery that's performed on the human body today, you take top to bottom, I don't know about dental surgeries, but the commonest surgery that's performed in human body today is cataract surgery. But many times cataract surgery, we do it and patient still has not gained all the vision. That's because of macular degeneration. Macular degeneration, there are two varieties of macular degeneration. How do you detect you have macular degeneration? When you read a chart, you're not able to read the last line, or colors may be deficient. You will not be seeing colors. And most importantly, whenever you see a grid of like window bars or in a grid of wires or something, you look it appearing crooked. Okay, sometimes you see floaters when you have a retinal problem. Whenever you see a crookedness of straight lines happening in your eye, you may be a candidate who are in for some treatment. Macular degeneration has got precursors, not that every day suddenly you become a macular degenerated person. If a doctor sees your eye, there can be yellow or white spots called drusense, and the macula can be thinner than normal. Macula can have deficiency of blood circulation. There can be an injury to the eye or a surgery to the eye which has caused damage to the macula. There are multiple reasons why macular degeneration occurs, but aging macular degeneration is a very important disease which people should be aware of for 2-3 reasons. There are two stages, wet and a dry. In a dry stage, we can't do anything. It's dry and it's not amenable for treatment. But imagine you visit a doctor when it is still wet. There are wonderful treatment available right now. Doctor gives tiny injections into the inside of the eye to heal the retina, or he may prefer to give some laser treatment for the retina, which we can reverse some amount of damage to the macula. So it's very important to understand that macula can get degenerated, and that's a slow process. It can be diagnosed. There's something called Amsler grid. Amsler grid. You check on the Google, AMSLER. It is a home test, and keep one eye closed. Wear your reading glasses. Look at the Amsler grid. There is a central dot. There is a grid of lines there, and if how to do it is also there on the net. Everybody should do that Amsler grid at home on your monitor. It's on Google, and practice it every month. Once in a way you can do it, then that will go a long way in minimizing the blindness. That's one way of finding out whether we are in for macular degeneration.
That's incredible. I mean, we don't think about these things at all. So I was just listening to you all this time and thinking, when should somebody see an ophthalmologist? Because for a dentist, we would, it is a myth again. Usually, at least in the past, South Asians only went to the dentist if there is a problem. By the time it's too late. And I can hear you saying exactly the same thing. When should they really start going and seeing an ophthalmologist or an optician? At what age?
It's a duty of every parent to take their children. If you see anything bad in the eye, a squint or a white discharge or a leukocoria, pupil should be red, when you look at it. But if you start seeing whitish patch in the center of your pupil, that's called leuko. If there is unnecessary movements, if the child is not looking at your face, child is supposed to look at mother's face, glare at it, or child shuns the light. These are the symptoms. The child should be brought to the doctor as early as newborn. A pediatrician is trained to examine the child's eyes, but not with great detail. But if there is any abnormality happening in child's eye, you must bring it back as in. If child is perfectly normal, everything is all right. At the age of 3 years, compulsorily the child needs an eye checkup. Okay, there are pediatric ophthalmologists. So just like any other specialty, we have eye specialists who look after only children's eyes. There are eye specialists who look after only squint surgery. There are about 12 to 13 specialties. There are doctors who just do retinal work. There are doctors who do take care of nerves. There are doctor who does UVL management. There are corneal surgeons. They do nothing but cornea. They don't know anything else about the eye except the cornea. So it's highly super specialized specialty today. And the pediatric ophthalmologist, I'm sure you have pediatric dental
Yes, we
dentists who
do. Of
specialize
course,
only
we do.
dent. So like that, we have pediatric ophthalmologists, but any routine ophthalmologist can examine it. If he suspects anything, he refers to a pediatric ophthalmologist. Age of 3 years, any symptom in your eyes, do not self-medicate. Just yesterday, one patient came and she had some swelling or redness in the eye, and she had no eye drops. She walked into the neighbor. Neighbor had an eye drop, and she brought and put it in her eyes. So there are millions, thousands of types of eye drops. You cannot put any eye drop into the eye for any eye problem. So then any symptom, eyes are the most precious organs, sense organs of the body. It's not smell, it's not taste, it's not touch, the eyes. You spend 10 minutes with the eyes closed. Try to walk around within the house in a familiar environment with your eyes closed. You cannot do that. You will be forced to open your eyes in a minute or 2 minutes time. So eyes are the most precious gift God has given us. As precious are your teeth, of course.
I would take no offense. It's okay. You can tell it's eyes. We have 32 of them, you see.
Fine. So why I was telling is, if there is a problem in the eye, any symptom or any sign, the watering, redness, discharge from the eye, injuries to the eye, pain in the eye, headaches, double vision, and there are a number of symptoms available. Do not self-medicate. Take the guidance of a doctor. In India, especially, the ophthalmic charges are very, very low. The consultation fee is only 500 rupees. You should not hesitate to meet an eye doctor even for a slightest symptom. That's my earnest request.
Dr. Ravindra, another thing I wanted to ask is, there's another myth is like, of course, kajal is born in India very, often for, centuries, if not for decades. And, more often, of course, as women, we all are imbibed in totally varied makeup for the eyes. Do they actually affect the eyesight?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. Kajal actually enhances the contrast. It's got a purpose. Why God has made brows, the hair, and the brows coming forward, and hairline. They all have purposes. It improves the contrast of your vision. There's something to do with it. But Kajal has to be. I speak. You see, when somebody is wearing goggles and try to speak to him, it's very difficult to understand his moods. It's not only by mouth, but we express our feelings through the eyes. And kajal is one good way of beautifying your eyes. Certainly not. Certainly, it's not a taboo. But then, kajal can also transmit diseases. So you cannot share kajal with another person. At home you have one bottle and all the people keep applying it, and you'll have to be clean on it. And it's better to apply it on the skin set. People pull it and then apply it like this. That may not be very good. And it's after all, like there is another thing, surma. There is another thing. What is that? The shining particles will be there in that. What do you call that?
Eyeshadow.
Huh?
Eyeshadows.
Not eyeshadow.
We have plenty. Yes, even on the, I don't know what is it called, but yes, people put with the shine thing. Yeah.
That shine, and that is bad, because kajal, and especially those tiny particles, I think they come from fish scales, if I'm right. So they can get into the eye, and when we turn the lids upside down and see inside, we can see the collection of these tiny particles inside, causing allergy into the eye and causing dryness in the eye, and they tend to accumulate inside the on the back side of your upper lids, backside. So that's got a name. I'm not getting it. But
Okay.
then that's bad. But the best way is to, if you want to do it, keep a pencil, not the paste, and apply it on the skin margin, the skin side, but not pulling it and then applying it. I
Okay.
wouldn't say don't apply kajal, but then that's your priority. But this
Okay.
tattooing, a lot of people come with a tattoo, permanent tattoo, they do it, they get bored of it. So, so how long you keep the tattoo permanently there? A lot of people come and ask us to remove the tattoo. They got bored of it 3 years later. It's very difficult to remove them.
Yes, Dr. Ravindra, it's amazing to see you up to date with our makeup tips. I'm sure a lot of women come and tell you all the stories. You know, they can't wear this, they can't wear this. And to be fair, like for the ladies to know, sometimes when you do even wear the eyeshadows, which are sparkly, and we all love it. But you know, if it does go into the eyes, like Dr. Ravindra said, I'm sure it will scratch the cornea and make damage. So something for us to be aware of, I guess.
A lot of people come with allergies, itching in the eyes, swelling, and dark circles, and all that. And many times, the best treatment that works, what I would recommend is stop all eye cosmetics. Just shut it off for the next 3 months, and it heals on its own.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much. Good tip. Thank you so much, Dr. Ravindra. At least for me personally, I have learned a lot about eyesight and how we can take care of them. I'm sure all the other audiences also have learned. Can I ask you one last thing? If, like for my audiences, what are the 5 points you will want them to remember about eye care, which it's like a must?
I would say remember Menaca.
I don't mind that. Thank you. What are the 5 tips, Dr. Ravindra?
See, number one is don't self-medicate, especially with the eyes are concerned. Don't try to emulate somebody else who have a similar eye. You may have a similar eye problem. Don't try to learn from him and try to do it on yourself. Don't experiment with your eyes. They're very, very precious. Number two, children have a habit of rubbing, like you've seen children rubbing like this because they have some allergy. And rubbing with like this is the most hazardous thing that you can do on the eye. The cornea I was talking about is only 0.5 millimeter thick. The cornea and the model is so thick, but in the eye it's half. You know how much is a millimeter? It's 0.5 millimeter thick. And when you're rubbing it, you're deforming the cornea extensively. And now today there is a very bad disease called keratoconus. Have you heard of keratoconus? Cornea, instead of being spherical, it becomes conical. And the power keeps on increasing. A 10-year-old child comes and he has given glasses. And at age of 10.5, 10 and a half years, he comes back, the power is increased by 1-2 diopters. At 11, it's another 2. And even if you wear glasses, it's not very clear. It's extremely common. We get at least 4 to 5 children every week. It's becoming a nuisance. And today we know that it's because of rubbing. Children, any child who is rubbing with the knuckles like this or like this, you should put a bang on the head and say don't do that. So he obviously has itching. Not that we have to be happy about it. He has a lot of itching. Then we'll have to treat him with medicines. They're very good for medicines that are available for allergic conjunctivitis and excellent. So he doesn't have to get the itching. The other thing is he can do whenever the children, especially when he has got rubbing feeling in the eye, ask him to run to the refrigerator, take a cotton, like a handkerchief, pour cold water on it and keep it on the eyes. The itching will go away. This is one simple homemade, don't put cucumbers. Cucumber you eat, but then you keep cold packs on the eye from this thing. The other thing is, in case he has to rub the eye, he's somewhere else, then rub with the palm of the hand. See, you're not applying any pressure on the eye, okay? But never see the pressure that falls per square inch when you're doing this is 5 kilo. Man, take a tomato and put a 5 kilo on it. How much of pressure it is going to exert on the tomato? So do not do this. Do not do this. But you can do this, provided But best is to go to the doctor and treat. So avoid eye rubbing is one strong message I would like to give you. The next message is it's not only carrots that are important. Balanced food, including proteins, the oils, and the vitamins, and minerals. All are very important as far as the eyes are concerned. And balanced food is very important, and balance between your weight and height. Do not be, girth should not be as much as your height, so you should be, check the tables and proportionately reduce your these things, and donate after death. This is something which strongly I would like to tell you. After death, you will have to donate the eyes. Make every town has got an eye bank, and kindly understand how the eye bank works. And you cannot donate when you're alive. So somebody in the family is dead, and you should always, that's a moment of grief. That's a time when everybody forgets what you have decided in the past. After 2 months, you realize that, oh, you've forgotten to inform the eye bank. So whenever you see a death, a friend or thing, just ask the person, would you like to donate the eyes of the person? Be a volunteer. It doesn't mean that somebody who is very close to us have to die. Any death you've seen, when anybody says somebody is not there, so first thing, have you made a wish to donate the eyes? That itself will bring a lot of donors into the utilization.
Thank you so much, Ravindra, because it is, it's a subject I'm passionate about as well. The good thing is in West, as you know, you have worked and studied and done a lot of work outside, internationally. And yes, I think the system here is pretty good. Once you put it, and then it automatically registers you, and then they are informed. But I think it is in Asia, we haven't come to that point yet. So I think it is a good thing to remind each other and encourage it actively. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. We have learned a lot, and I have already got so many questions for you, Dr. Ravindra. So we will be coming back to you with the active questions, and I can see Dr. Navaratnam has already put his hand up to ask the question. Just hold on till we wrap this up, and then we'll come to all the questions, whatever you want to ask. Thank you so much we really, really learned a lot. Following tradition, let me tell you what is happening next week. It is on the 30th of January. We are going to be talking about Value of Community by Ian Pelham Turner. He is an international TV broadcaster specializing in the royal family. He has taken royal photographs of 3 generations of royal family as well. And he's into community relations, promoting British business and young people. And I got to know him personally because he interviewed me for a show once. That's how I got to know him. And he would be on the show and talk about value of community. And I think it is really an important topic for all of us to listen. For now, over to Raj Madhavan to give the vote of thanks.
My goodness, this is a very powerful presentation, Dr. Ravindra, on nurturing your eyes. It is amazing. Just an introduction, I'm Raj Madhavan, connecting from Canada. And today, on behalf of Meet Menaca Celebrating Team, I have the honor and the privilege in presenting this vote of thanks to Dr. Ravindra, who is an ophthalmologist. Our eyes are one of the most sensitive organs in our body, and they require specific careful care to prevent any problems. From Dr. Ravindra's presentation, we all know how to take care of our eyes and identify any issues early. Most importantly, we learned, which is very important, is that we should control diabetic if we have. In this case, we should see a doctor every year. Also, Dr. Ravindra mentioned the benefit of fasting, intermittent fasting as a way of controlling of eye disease. Doctor's advice to those working with computer is amazing. And my takeaway from today's talk is donate your eyes, which is very, very important. On behalf of Meet Menaca team, my sincere thanks to Dr. Ravindra for taking your time, coming to our show and presenting an amazing talk on nurturing your eyes. Our next thanks to all viewers who signed up through Facebook and also Zoom to watch Meet Menaca Celebrating talk shows. And many of you are viewers coming every week, week after week, and supporting our shows for the last 73 weeks. Today we are on episode number 74. And you all are the reason for our success. We got 65 participants through Zoom today. It's an amazing achievement. Finally, again, thank you, Dr. Ravindra, for your time and being with us and giving us valuable information on eye care. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sharing the knowledge is unique. It's a God's work, and all of you are doing exemplary work. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj, and thank you, Dr. Ravindra, once again. And people who are on the Zoom, please stay, because we are going to come back to you for the questions. Personally, you can ask the expert yourself. For people who have been listening to us on Facebook, thank you so much, as ever, for the support and for cheering us on. And please do support us to grow. And thank you so much. I have a good news to announce. We have gone to 550 subscribers today. So thank you so much for all of you who are supporting us grow and share these messages globally across the board. And that was the aim of this talk show, from the word go. So thank you so much. For people who are on the Facebook listening to us, it has come back to that time of the day to say goodbye. Till we see you next week with community and the value of the community with Ian Turner. Stay safe, be happy, and keep smiling.